Welcome to Flash CS6 Tutorial 28, Submarine Game Part 3. It's a follow-up to Submarine Game Part 2, which was Tutorial 27, and that's what I have on my computer. Now we're going to make some torpedoes that can hit this submarine. Go back to the timeline. Lock all your layers, select the sub layer, insert a layer, call it Torpedo, T-O-R-P, Torpedo. Select that first frame, and let's use the oval tool again. Pick it up here, the oval tool. Let's make this stroke black as we did before, and we'll keep them a little bit darker gray here. And I'm going to make it bigger so I can see what I'm doing, 200%. And I'm going to make a long skinny oval. There it is there. Pick up my selection tool. I'm just going to click on that corner and push that corner in so it looks like that. And that's going to be my torpedoes. Highlight it. Get that crosshairs. Right click. Convert it to a symbol. Make sure movie clip is selected. And call it torp, T-O-R-P _MC, and click OK. Double click on it, and now we're inside of this movie clip. Just to see that there it is. Open the library, right click Properties, and make sure movie clip is selected. I don't know if I said that, but click here, Export for Action Script. You should get a check mark in here. There should be something written here and something written here. Copy this name. Right click, copy it. Close it. Okay, just okay this warning. Go back to scene 1 and make sure it's highlighted here. Open the Properties panel and paste in that instance name. You can't write code if you don't have an instance name. Double click on the torpedo again, and we're back inside of the torpedo. Make sure you select the timeline, lock that layer, call it torp as in torpedo, T-O-R-P. Click it, insert a layer, call it action script, AS. Select the first frame, open the actions panel, and type. We'll type it in, then we'll explain it. VAR turns purple. Speed, S-P-E-E-D. Let's make that a capital S. I like capitals. That's just the way I do it. Colon number, capital N-U-M-B-E-R, turns blue. Equals 10, semicolon. Add event listener, small a, capital E, capital L, turns blue. Open bracket, event, capital E, turns blue, period. Enter underscore frame. These are all capital letters. Comma, update, capital U. Update meaning do it again. Close bracket. Function, F-U-N-C-T-I-O-N. Copy update and put it here. Update. Open bracket E. Colon, event, capital E-V-E-N-T. That turns blue. Close bracket. Open curly bracket. Small x equals x minus speed. Minus speed because we want this to move the torpedo from the right to the left. So the x-axis is getting less and less and less. That's why it's a minus. Speed equals, it equals speed, whatever it was, plus 0.001 semicolon. So the smaller you make this number, the slower the torpedo is going to come across the stage, and the more chance the sub has of missing it. If you don't want the sub to have any chance, make this really fast, and the sub will never have a chance of surviving. Okay, so that's what's moving it across the stage. And now we want to make sure every time it reaches the far left-hand side of the stage, it starts over again. So if turns purple, open bracket x, if its x coordinate is less than or equal to minus 10, close bracket, that means it's gone way past the left-hand side of the stage by 10 pixels. It's definitely going to be off the stage. If that's true, open curly bracket, x equals 600, semicolon. That means we're sending the torpedo way back to the right-hand side, 50 pixels off the stage, because our stage is 550 wide, we're sending it to 600. At the same time, for the y-axis, y equals math random, capital M, math, period, small r, that'll turn blue if it's spelled right, open and close bracket, asterisk, that's the uppercase of 8, 400 plus 25, semicolon. So that means that I'm going to go anywhere from 0, which is the top of the stage, down to 425, which is the lower part of my stage. Then we got the closed curly bracket for this if, and then there's a second closed curly bracket. And I want to just make sure what size my stage is. So if I click the properties panel, go back to scene 1, timeline, just click somewhere on the stage, open the properties panel, and I see my is only 400, so I don't need that extra 25. So I gotta go back to the torpedo, open that up, and I don't need this. So now I'm going to have each of my ships, each of my torpedoes come across the stage at this speed rate. They're going to come across the stage. Once they pass the end of the stage, they're going to come back and find a random Y, vertical one, and then they're going to come across the stage again. So now let's go back to scene 1. And torpedo, I want to make sure I gave it an instance name. Oops, select it, make sure it has an instance name. I'm sure I did, we did. Okay, this should actually work and go across the stage for me. I have an error. Type was not found, torpedo C1. Movie clip. Torp 1. Okay, I found the problem. It's a real strange one. You got to select this torpedo layer. I'm on scene 1. Make sure the torpedo layer is selected. Make sure it's unlocked. Highlight the torpedo and delete it. Now, make the stage smaller. And let's bring on some torpedoes. Let's bring 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Make sure they're spaced out this way. And as far as the vertical spacing is, they'll go through once like this, but then randomly they'll be put back. So now we should be able to test this. Control, test movie, test. We don't get that error, and I can go up and down, and the torpedoes come by, and I'm going to try to dodge them. Now we're going to have something happen when the torpedoes hit the sub. Okay, let's lock the layers. Let's select the actions layer, open the actions panel, and way down here, way down the bottom, we have this tracing where we're tracing our y-axis. Put a couple enters, so I have this closed curly bracket there, and type this code. Okay, get ready, I'll go through here with you. 4, FOR turns purple, open bracket. This is the for statement. I have a variable called I. It's quite common to call this variable I equals 0. That's the first argument we need. There's a semicolon. Now, I is less than num children. And num children are the number of, in our case, of the torpedoes that we put on the stage. So, is less than NUM, small n, capital C as in children, CHILDREN, that will turn blue, semicolon, and then we're going to increment I equals I plus 1, close bracket. So each time it goes through this loop, it's going to be examining those ships individually to see if anything happened to them. And in our case, we're going to hit them with the sub. Okay, so here comes that part. There's an open curly bracket right here. If get child at, that's how you address it to find that get child at. So if turns purple, open bracket, get, small get, capital C as in child, capital A-T. Okay, so there's two capitals, capital C and capital A. Turns blue. Open bracket, I, that's that variable we just made. Think of it like an instance name, an instance number. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, and it starts at 0. And it's going to go up to how many children we have. So open bracket, I, close bracket, is, and that's the name of our movie clip. Top, as in torpedo, underscore MC, that's the one we just made. Close bracket. Here's the open bracket for this if statement. We're now going to make a variable that is going to be the instance, like var, torp, T-O-R-P, I, as an instance, capital I, equals get child at. You can copy this get child at and paste it in. Open bracket, I, close bracket, as torp underscore MC. So that's that same torpedo name, semicolon. So that's the first thing we got to be doing is getting this, and we will be if indeed we have more to get, more to talk about. So now we're saying if open bracket torp I, that's the instance name, period, hit test object, small h, capital T, capital O, that turns blue, open bracket sub underscore MC, close bracket. As it's going through these loops, this I keeps changing, and this does this real fast. And anytime we hit a torpedo with our ship, this is what's going to happen. So open curly bracket, we're going to trace open bracket, quotation, hit sub, close quotation, close bracket, semicolon. We're tracing that just to make sure that if it hits, we'll know it worked. And at the same time, we're going to have something called score text. So score underscore text, period, T-E-X-T. This is a text box we're going to make called score text, period, T-E-X-T, small t's, they turn blue, equals, quotation, your score is, your space score is, score space is, close quotation, semicolon. So whatever you write in here, inside of here, will be seen. And at the same time, so we're going to have some score going on here. We're going to remove this event listener gravity. So come up here. Come up here, up here. Copy this line. Add event listener for gravity. Come down here. Paste it in here. And change add to remove. At the same time, game timer period stop. So this is another thing we're going to make, is something called a game timer period stop. So capital G, capital T, period, S-T-O-P, open close bracket, semicolon. And when we're finished, there should be 1, 2, 3, 4 close curly brackets. Now we can't try it yet because we got a lot of things we got to make first. Okay, we did a fair amount of code here, so let's make sure we have what we have works to some degree. This line, this score text line, right in the front, click and put 2 forward slashes, because we can't do that yet because I don't have that text box made. I don't have this timer made yet, so select in front of that and put 2 forward slashes. But now, if one of the torpedoes hit the sub, 2 things should happen. On the right hand side, I should trace, hit sub, and everything should, the submarine should stop and not be able to move anymore. That's what this is doing. So, test movie test. I'm going to try to avoid them as much as I can. And eventually I'll hit one. There, I hit one. It said hit the sub, and the submarine stopped moving. So that much works. Okay, so let's deal with this this line down here, this game timer. Come to the very end, put a few enters in, and type this code. Type. var, var, another variable. Game timer, capital G, capital T, colon, timer, capital T, that will turn blue, equals new space timer. New turns purple, that's a small n, and again, capital T, open bracket, 500, close bracket, semicolon. This is milliseconds, so every half second, this timer is going to do something for us, every half second. If you want to make it a full second, make this 1,000. If you want your timer to work by seconds, but I'm working by half seconds. So, game timer, copy that game timer, paste it in, period. Add event listener, we've done enough of them. Open bracket, timer event, capital T, capital E, turns blue, period. Timer, all capital letters, comma, time played, capital T, capital P, that's the function I'm making. Close bracket, semicolon. Now we're going to call a function up. Function, F-U-N-C-T-I-O-N. Time played. You can copy this time played and paste it in. Open bracket. Event, E-V-E-N-T, turns blue, small e, colon, timer event. You can copy this timer event and put it in here. Timer event. Close bracket, colon, void. Void turns the same color as function. And I need an open curly bracket for my function. Down here is the closed curly bracket, and we're going to have something called total time. We haven't made it yet, but we're going to have something called total time. T-O-T, capital T-I-M-E, plus, semicolon. That just means increment by 1. At the same time, we're going to trace total time. So trace, open bracket, total time, close bracket, semicolon, and we're going to then display this time in a text box called count text, count underscore text period text. That's that text box equals tot time period to string. So down here, this is blue. This text is blue, equals total time period, small t, capital S, to string turns blue, open bracket, close bracket, semicolon. There's the closed curly bracket for this open curly bracket, and this is what actually starts this timer. Game timer period start, small S-T-A-R-T, that turns blue, open close bracket, semicolon. So we have to declare this variable. So go way up to the top, put an enter in here, and type this code in. Var, V-A-R, tot time, capital T-O-T, capital T-I-M-E, colon, number, capital N-U-M-B-E-R, equals 0, semicolon. And now we have to make this counter text box. So copy that, right click, copy it, go back to the timeline, make sure all the layers are locked, select the torpedo layer, insert a layer, call this one text, T-E-X-T, come over here, select your text tool, open the properties panel, make sure dynamic text is selected. I'm using Times New Roman. I want black. What else? Oh yeah, right here. Embed. Click embed. Click upper, lower numerals and punctuations. Okay. Now, come over here and make a text box. So close that for a second. Put this back to around 100%. In here, put a text box. Go back to the properties panel. I have it 30 points. And up here where the instance name is, paste in that name you copied, count underscore text. So we have that done, which means I can go back to my action script for a second. And we should be able to see this timer, tracing this timer. Yep, so let's go back to the actions code once more for a minute. And we have some traces up here. I want to get rid of these traces up here that I have going on. This one here, hit sub. I don't want that anymore. Just 2 forward slashes gets rid of that. I don't want to see that. Open my library, select the torpedo, and nothing's being traced there. Okay, so is that all I'm tracing? I thought I was tracing something else. Trace tow time. Yes, let's go with this. Control, test movie test. And there's my time. See, my time's tracing. My ship's got hit, so it stops. Now what we got to do is stop this timer when the ship gets hit. So, pretty good. And we already have that right here. This is what's going to stop the timer. So these two, that will stop the timer. And let's just check that again. Test movie test. I'm trying to not get hit here. Now I get hit, it stops, and the timer stops. All I want to do is one more thing, have it say your score is. That's very easy. Make sure we have this frame selected here where we have this text box already. Pick up your text tool. Make a text box here. A little bit longer than that one. Open the properties panel. Make sure dynamic is selected again. I have Times New Roman, black, same, and I think I call this SCORE score underscore TXT. And in here I want to type YOUR, your SCORE score is. Let's test this out. Control test movie test. I'll try not to get hit. I got hit, and it says your score is 4. Now let's go back to the action code for a minute and see where those are located. Down here. There's the one that displays the actual time. I think maybe we won't display the time until the game is over. So let's do 2 things. Let's click on that. Once you highlight it, click on it and drag it up here. This is when the sub gets hit. And I think we can just get rid of those 2 forward slashes. Go back to the timeline. Make sure all the layers are locked except the text layer. Unlock it. And I think we can take this, double click on it, highlight it, and delete that text. Now we don't see any score until the game is over. So I'll go up, I'll try to miss them best I can. There, I hit, and that's when the score is displayed. So you can do it either way, that's up to you. There's going to be another follow-up to this series. It'll be Flash CS6 Tutorial 29, Submarine Part 3A, I'm calling it. We'll find a different way of keeping score. Instead of the submarine stopping the first time it's hit by a torpedo, we'll have the submarine hit the torpedoes and they will disappear, and we'll time out how long it takes to get all the submarines. So if you plan on doing that, save your FLA. Hope you learned something from this tutorial, and I hope you use what you learned.